In this video, I decided to do an April wrap-up. So I wanted to show all the books that we've read, my ratings, a brief description, if I recommend them or not, everything. I thought I'd start off with the first book that we read. I'm clapping for this book because it literally has carried the series and is the only reason that we're currently reading it. If you have not read the ACOTAR series, the first book is definitely something that you have to push through. We rated it a 3. It was just really hard for us. This book was the make or break. It was, if this book is not everything and more, we are not reading the series, we are not continuing. When we decided to read this, we went in pretty suspicious, you know, we're just trying to like read a little bit of it, see if it was worth it, whatever. Obsessed. We gave it 5 stars. From the second we started to the very last page, I was like devouring this book because it was a 5, because it was amazing. Obviously, because the second in the series, I can't say what was in this book, but the entire series, if you don't know what it's about, which I'd be really surprised because I'm pretty sure Sam and I are like some of the last people to read these books, but it's about this girl. Her name is Farah. She is a mortal and she is out hunting for her family because her family is very, very poor. She's out hunting for her family, trying to scrounge up some food when she shoots a wolf, and the wolf ends up being Fae. They have this barrier between the mortal and the Fae, and that creature had come across. She shoots him, kind of knowing what he might be, kind of not. Someone from over the wall comes to get retribution and get justice for what occurred. That's what happens. It's a romantasy series. There's, I think, 5. I think there's like whispers of it not being done yet, or it might be. I'm not sure. Every time I think I look it up or I think I know, I swear it changes. But as of right now, it's only 5 books. It is so good. Definitely hefty, thick books, but if you can push past the first one, it's been really good. Right now, we're in the middle of like continuing the series. In a couple videos, you'll be seeing us like finish the rest of them, but this was amazing. I totally recommend, again, if you like fantasy, romantasy. I like this because this was the kind of fantasy that has fae and has like creatures, but it doesn't go into super depth like goblins and ogres and all that kind of stuff. The other side of fantasy in my mind, this just kind of had like fae and then creatures, which is the kind of fantasy that I prefer. Another thing that I really like about this author and about this series is all of the relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic or whatever the case may be, they are all so deep. Like the connections are so deep. Part of it is based off of like the creatures that they are, the people they are, the kind of whatever, the magic, I don't know what it is, but everything about it, all the connections are so deep and you feel them so truly. Like nothing is surface level, and that's what I love. Highly recommend. The second book that we read was another series, and it was Powerless. If you have not read Powerless or have not heard of it, it's pretty similar to The Hunger Games, and was actually gifted this copy for her birthday, so we just went into reading it. We rated it a 4, and while we were reading it, I think we gave it less credit than what it was due because of how similar it is to Hunger Games. We both were kind of, I don't know, like put off. Didn't like it as much just because it was so similar that in my mind I was like, ugh, I've already read this, you know? But thinking back to it, I think I like it more now. All I know is that this is a story that has stayed with me a lot longer than other 4s I've given, so I feel like I have to give it more credit than that. Tomorrow, Powerful comes out, which is the 1.5 in the series. It's like a little novella. It has been one of my most anticipated releases that I've ever experienced. Like I keep checking to see if it's there at the bookstore. I like found out that it was coming out soon and I got so excited. And then the book after that, like the book 2 of the series, I'm so excited for that. So I feel like this story has stuck with me more than I've given it credit for. But anyways, if you don't know what this is about, Hayden is the main female character and she has 0 powers, whereas Kai, main male character, he is one of the most powerful people and his whole purpose is to hunt the people that don't have powers. So again, it's like Hunger Games. It has romance, but it is definitely like the YA side of things, because I feel like sometimes with YA you end up getting like high schoolers. So if you want the YA level of intimacy in terms of like spiciness, but you don't want them to be like children, this is definitely it. That's the story. I'm gonna really like this book. Now going on to a book that we both couldn't stand, and I know this book is popular. Actually, I want to see what it was rated because I don't even think I looked to see. I think Sam had looked at Goodreads and I know that we very much didn't like it compared to other people. Yeah, it's given a 4.05 and we gave it a 3 generously. It's The Girlfriends. We read this. What was the video for this? Oh, we read these in the same video. I think it was like starting new series or something like that. Love this series. Will not be reading any more of this. I just I can't. This book took so much longer to read than a book this size. It just felt painful trying to push through this book. I wanted to take so many breaks. The entire video, I remember we just kept discussing what would make us DNF a book. Everything that was in that was in this. There was nothing about this book that I wasn't like, okay, cut the camera. So like, I know it was highly rated, and I know the series is something that a lot of people like. And if you like the kind of fantasy where there are goblins and ogres, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, if you want like that kind of fantasy, this would be more your style. I just feel like I couldn't connect to any of these characters, and I felt like their story I didn't really care that much about. If there's not a single character that doesn't have any likable traits, it's like impossible for me to care about the story. Like, I can't read a book about characters that I don't like when it's only that. Like, if they're like maybe one that's like shining through, maybe, but I didn't like a single person, creature, monster. There was not a single soul in this book that I wasn't like, I could live without you. 3 was generous. I was leaning more towards a 2.5, but I think I am leaning more towards 2.5. It just wasn't it. It just wasn't it, and it was sad because I hate having, there's so many books in the series. We could have easily just dove into a whole world. Maybe one of you in the comments can tell me otherwise, but Sam's sister hasn't read this yet, and she said she's gonna give us like a review when she reads it. Maybe if she loves it, we'll give the second one a try, but like, definitely not for us. Changing up the genres, these have all been fantasy, romantasy, romance, whatever. This book was in the video where, our most recent video where Sam is picking books that we read, because normally I'm the one that picks. This is actually like a thriller mystery. It is just hard for me to get into these books because thriller / mystery is not the kind of vibe I normally go for. I love kicking my feet and giggling and just being so delighted, you know, blushing at all of the love and being so wrapped up in a good fantasy in a whole different world. This kind of stuff, like, I don't really want to play detective. You know, like, I just want to read. I don't want to sit here and be sleuthing. I don't want to be putting the clues together. 9 times out of 10, that's not what I want. Sam sometimes has the urge to play detective. Rated this a 3.5. It was good. I definitely enjoyed certain aspects of it, and I appreciated, I don't know how to describe this, but like, I appreciated that things that happened in this book, like mystery, thrillery things that happened in this book, weren't fantasy in the sense that I was able to have guessed them. Because when you're reading a fantasy and there's gonna be a twist or turn or whatever, you can maybe guess like the idea of it, but because it's fantasy and literally all of it's made up, you can't fully get an idea because you have no idea what the creatures are going to be. You have no idea what magic they're going to have. You know, like, there's stuff like that you're just not going to be able to guess because it's not of this world. But going back into this world story and being able to guess things because they're things that are real, that was refreshing and definitely a change of pace. And so I think every once in a while we are going to try to throw in a book, even if it's not necessarily a mystery thriller, but a non-fantasy book. One, for content purposes, but also just to kind of cleanse the palate. My only warning about this is that they do talk about addiction quite a bit. If that bothers you at all, I would not read this. And while addiction and everything involved in that is very important, needs to be discussed, discussing it needs to be normalized, I just felt like for what this book was supposed to be about, we got a little derailed. There just wasn't enough book for it to be about that much. Does that make sense? Lastly, the last book that we read this month was One Dark Window. This was another book that Sam picked out. She had her eyes on it for quite some time. We rated this a 4.5. This book was really, really great. Our only complaint was a little tiny complaint about the romance that we couldn't give it a 5 because the romance involved in it like just wasn't what we wanted, so it kept us from having that 5-star feeling. But it was really great. I loved like the story in terms of like the world. I loved the way that they work their magic. I'm not even giving a description on what these books are about. This book is about a girl who her parents are killed and she is taken by the murderer to the Fae world as a human with her sisters, and her dealing with that world and trying to grow up when people aren't treating mortals very well. This is about a girl in high school. Her best friend drops dead suddenly in front of this man who she was dating at the time. And then years later, 7 years to be exact, Maya watches a video of another girl dropping dead in front of that same guy. This is about her going back to her hometown and trying to figure out what's going on. This book is about a girl named Elspeth. She is living in a world where being infected is considered highly dangerous and you are hunted, that they can either put you in a dungeon or kill you, because being infected means that you have magic within you, whereas everyone else in the world that does not have magic within them, who is not infected, is only able to use magic through the use of these cards that you can collect and trade. When you're infected, you have magic that's uncontrollable to the royalty, and so you are hunted. And this girl, Elspeth, has been infected and is trying to survive in a world that's hunting her. We are going to be reading the second book pretty soon, actually, so that's pretty exciting. We bought it right after we read the first one, even though we're not going to read it for a couple books. We just immediately went and bought it because we were so excited. If you're into fantasy and don't want to commit to like a really long series, because I feel like that's the biggest problem when it comes to fantasy of why people don't jump into the genre, is because there's so little standalones. It's 3+ books, and if you're not ready to commit to either a book the size of a dictionary or a series of like 11, people don't want to read fantasy. But there's only duology, so you're only committing to 2 books roughly this size. I think it was like 400-ish pages. Yeah, those are all the books that we read this month. We read 5. It's a pretty hefty stack. This is like heavy. But going forward, I'm going to start trying to post more than once a week. If I can't, it'll just be the one, but I've been keeping up with posting on Wednesdays. That's going to be my new, or not new, but that's going to be the day that I'm posting regularly. And if I have an extra video, it's most likely going to be on Sundays. So we're going to try to be posting more content. We're going to see how that goes with our schedules. With that, we're going to be reading a lot more books, which I'm so excited about, because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like we could be reading a lot more than what we had been doing. I mean, 5 books is still good, but I don't know, we both read books so quickly that I feel like we could do more. So I'm excited that we're going to be doing more. The other thing that's really exciting, that I'm so excited about, we hit 20 subscribers. And 20 may not seem like a lot to you. You know, 20 might seem like no big deal. Just 20. Like, that's nothing. That's probably your friends and family. To me, I sobbed. Like, I have been wanting to do this channel for literally my whole life. And the fact that I'm finally doing it, and the fact that I have 20 of you guys, even if a couple of you are friends and family, majority of you aren't. And that is what is exciting to me, is that majority of you are not people that know me like in real life. And so there's 10+ of you that are just here because you found me, and that is so exciting. So thank you so much. 20 is like a dream. I can't even imagine that that's happening at all. So thank you so much. That's very exciting. But because I hit 20 subscribers, I had said, I don't know if I ended up putting it in a video or not, because that footage might have gotten cut, or that entire vlog might have been cut. I don't really remember, but I want to do a giveaway. So if you are just finding my channel and you have never seen any of my videos before, me and my fiance, Sam, are the ones that read all these books. We read them together, and because we're reading them at the same time, we get 2 copies of majority of the books that you're seeing. So unless we end up borrowing a book from Sam's sister, which we're doing for the Akatar series, I know, I'm not sure if we're doing it with anything else, but the vast majority of our books we get 2 copies of, and then we only want to keep 1 in terms of like the collecting side of the reading process. So we have 1 copy. So previously we've donated or we've sold back to like secondhand bookstores and stuff, but we've decided that for the foreseeable future that we really want to do giveaways. So I want to do a giveaway for hitting 20 subscribers. I'm going to have my Instagram linked below, and I still have to figure out the rules and like the concept of it, because I've obviously never done this before, but we're hoping that we can, I think I'm going to do 2 winners, I think, because we have a decent amount of books. And then go to my Instagram if you're interested, and the rules will be on my Instagram of like how you can try to get these books, and then I'll pick winners by my next video, I think. So yeah, go to my Instagram if you're interested in that. It'll all be there. But I'm really excited and I'm really thankful, and if you're watching this and you're not subscribed but you do want to, you totally should, because I'll cry about it. So that's all I have to say. Those are the books. I'm really excited for the books. I'm looking over there because that's where we keep our books, by the way. The books that we have for the next couple videos. I'm very excited about. We have gotten ourselves into the wonderful problem, the blessed, lucky problem of having so many books that we want to read like right now, and I'm just really excited about it. I feel like there's gonna be a whole new chapter in this next month. It's gonna be like with the content, you know? So that is all. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Insert all the things that YouTubers tell you at the end of a video to make you subscribe.